Hey, so I'm just going to take you through some of the custom code that is in your site that allows it to be as beautiful as it is. We add custom codes to our sites, so we are breaking away from what we call standard Squarespace layout. There are some elements of Squarespace that just won't allow for some of the bits that you can see on your site, and I will show you where I have added a little bit of code just to make things pretty for you, and also going to show you how to edit it. So you will see I have gone to design and then custom CSS. So the very first thing that you will note on your site is that there is this lovely floating header here. If I were to take it out, let's just show you. You just have a standard full width header on your site, but we are adding it back in. It's a lovely floating header. I just liked it. That's the only reason I put it in. So you can take it out. There isn't really anything that needs editing. You can change the width of the floating header. So for instance, if I change this to 1500, add a 5 in there, it comes up slightly wider. So completely up to you as to how you want it to look. 1200 I've put in because it works on pretty much most widths, in all honesty. You can change the padding, you can change the border radius. So for instance, if I change that to 20, it's a bit more of a curved one, but I was quite happy with the 10. Anyhow, so that's your floating header. So you can see here it will tell you the max width, the padding, border radius, the spacing at the top, and the mobile spacing as well. You can play with that if you wish. What you also have is these frosted and blurred buttons. Now you can't fully see it on everything, but you have these blurred buttons here on your site, and it just means the background of all of your buttons has this slight blur on it, so you'll be able to see, for instance, on here, you can see through the background on your frosted and blurred button. Now, what you can do is to change the colour. The colour here is in RGB, so it's red, green, blue, and then you've got what the transparency is here. The blur, you can change the pixelation of your blur. So if I change that down to 1 pixel, that changes it. If I change it to, for instance, 20 pixels, there's a slight change to the blur. We'll put it back to 8. 8 is probably about right, if I'm honest with you. And this is for every single button that is on your site. So I've done it for every button. So I've got it for the button blocks. So you've got small, medium, and large for your button blocks. We've got it for the header. So if you have a button in your header section here, then we will have blurred that one as well. Any newsletters or blogs that you add, you have that frosted and blurred button, and I've added it in also for your blog as well. So if I go to your blog page here, you will see that there is a frosted and blurred button on your blog too. Now, in all honesty, you don't have to have this. You can just completely take it out, and then it'll just go back to whatever the default buttons are on that page. But I think it looks pretty. And in essence, that's all of the code that is in the main parts of your site. Now, there are some bits of code that are generally on a few pages. Now, the reason I'm going to take you through this, there's a reason why this bit of code has been added. And firstly, I'm going to show you social links. So you'll notice when you go to your social links page, there is no header and there's no footer. So I'll give you a comparison. In your home page, you have your header, and you scroll all the way to the bottom, you have your footer. Now, when you go to social links, you don't have either. You don't have header or footer. That's deliberate, because I just think it looks horrendous with it. If I'm perfectly honest with you, just much looks nicer. Now, if you go to the settings of the page and then into advanced, you will then be able to see there's a slight bit of code in there. And this bit of code here just basically says hide the header and footer. If you want your header and footer back in, then just take it out. If you just want the header in, delete header, and then it will only take out your footer. But in all honesty, I I would leave it as it is. It's designed specifically that way. You find that it's the same on your freebie page because you want to keep people on that page. And it is the same for the thank you page. The thank you page allows them navigation towards your site. It's also the same for the 404 page. These are design reasons. It just looks much better. And it's also easier to really get people to do exactly what you want them to do without distracting them with the navigation on your website. And that's your code.